And I guess I mean, it's not just us. It sounds like that are going to be dealing with this, Jessica.
Yeah, it's a pretty big system that's moving across the country. So depending on where you're going, you might need to be a little flexible, especially in regards to when exactly it is you leave. Timing can make a big difference with some of the impacts that we're going to be talking about over the next few days here. We do have that weather impact alerts really starting tonight, lasting into Thursday, and at least Friday at this point. We're going to have rain arriving as we go through the evening. It's going to change over to some mix and snow tonight into early tomorrow morning. By Friday, the focus becomes lake effect snow, especially for areas east of Cleveland, and that could have some major impacts on travel between Cleveland, Erie, and Buffalo. If that is something that is in your plans for this weekend, that's something to be very aware of as we go through that long weekend. So plan on needing some extra travel time, and maybe just adjusting your travel plans by a couple hours can make a huge difference. We'll get to that in just a minute. For right now, if you are heading out this evening, we've got quiet conditions for the time being, plenty of cloud cover around, no major rain out there just yet. Temperatures are in the 40s, so we are above the freezing mark, but we've got a lot off to our west, and we're going to watch kind of the northern edge of this rain as it tries to make it into our area, really kind of knocking on the door for some of our western counties right now. So that rain will be moving in as we go through the evening. If you have plans to travel, if you're hitting the road right now heading east, no major concerns there. Heading west, you're going to be running into that rain, ditto if you're heading off to the south. So all of this is going to be taking us over as we go through the evening hours, initially as a rain, but for the time being, just plenty of cloud cover, not much showing up on radar just yet. That will be changing over the next few hours here. National Design hour-by-hour forecast is going to show that rain taking over by about 8, 9 o'clock. We'll have a good steady rain going for most of us. Temperatures are still in the low 40s, so no concerns there. If you have plans to travel through the early evening hours, you're good to go. As we get into the overnight, though, our temperatures will start to drop as colder air moves in. So we'll have a bit of a changeover. Some mix and some wet snow start to get into the picture. And if you have plans to travel overnight into very early Thanksgiving, that's when we're likely going to see some very messy conditions developing. We could see a little bit of that wet snow trying to stick further south, especially any grassy areas, elevated surfaces. However, if you can wait for your travel plans on Thursday just a little bit, pre-dawn, it's likely to be very messy. If you wait just a couple of hours towards about, say, 9, 10 o'clock, a lot of that steadier stuff will be out of here. We'll be past our sunrise time. Temperatures will be above freezing. We'll have some daylight to help melt any of that snow that has stuck. Things are going to look a lot better travel-wise if you can just wait that little bit of extra time on Thursday morning. So keep that in mind as you plan out your day. Once we get that steady stuff to move out, we'll see just a chance for a couple lingering showers, maybe a brief drizzle or flurry for the rest of the day, but travel conditions will improve immensely once we get past sunrise, say 8, 9 o'clock onward. You should be good to go with any plans that you have for Thursday. Temperatures top out 30s, low 40s. That snow that we're expecting to mix in is really not going to be super impactful. Again, it's going to be a very wet snow for us, maybe just a quick ½ an inch to an inch further south, especially in some of those grassy areas, elevated surfaces. It will melt very quickly, either on contact or once we get daylight into the picture on Thursday. We're going to pick up with that hour-by-hour forecast Thursday night into Friday. We have colder air moving in. We get a shift in the wind, and that's going to trigger lake effect. Lake effect is going to kick in on Friday, and that's going to be our main story going forward into the weekend. That could mean some big totals, especially across far northeastern Ohio into Pennsylvania, New York. That's why I mentioned that I-90 corridor later into the weekend, to be cautious about that. Rest of your Union Home Mortgage 10-day forecast. We are going to look at cold air really arriving through the day on Friday rather, and sticking around. 20s and 30s will be the case for us, and we'll still have that potential for some lake effect snow as we go through this cold period, guys. So if you haven't gotten your winter gear ready just yet, I think there are a few sales out there you might be able to hit to get ready.
Good to know. All right, Jess, thank you so much.